We've been invited to a BP media day here in London, where they have a pilot petrol station, Hammersmith, which is supplying the fleet for the Olympic Games with 3 new sorts of fuel that you have developed. I'm talking to Phil New, the Chief Executive of the BP Biofuels section. Phil, can you tell me a little bit more about those 3 kinds of fuels?
Sure. So the first fuel that we're demonstrating in Hammersmith is something called cellulosic ethanol. So with this, we're making ordinary ethanol, but we're making it from a very different crop, and we're making it in a very different way. So rather than taking a food, instead we're growing very, very tall grasses that give us lots of dense biomass, and then we're extracting the sugars from all of this plant and then turning those sugars into ethanol. What's really special about this is we can get much higher yields per hectare, so we have lower cost and lower carbon and more sustainable sources of biofuels. So we think it's a great additional sustainable feedstock for biofuels in the future, a good source of low-cost sugars. Then the other 2 fuels that we're developing are really ways in which we've taken these sugars and turned them into different kinds of fuel molecules. The first one is where we take some sugars and we're able to turn that into biodiesel. So today, biodiesel, as you know, is made from vegetable oils. So here we have a process that, instead of using vegetable oils, uses sugars from sugarcane or from these cellulosic grasses. And so then the biodiesel that we can make, we can esterify or we can hydrogenate so that it has all the characteristics of existing biodiesels. So it's a way of being able to move away from using oil seeds in the future. The third product that we're showing here is something called biobutanol. And biobutanol really is an upgrade for ethanol. So just like ethanol, we have the sugars. There is a yeast that eats the sugars, but instead of producing ethanol, the yeast has been re-engineered so that it produces butanol. Butanol is a really interesting fuel molecule because it overcomes many of the issues that we've seen with ethanol. It has better energy density, so you get more kilometers per liter. It has much better compatibility with existing infrastructure, with engines and pumps and things. It is a better blending component, and it doesn't mix with water. So it's been chosen for its properties as a better fuel molecule. So those are the 3 things that we're showing here. We think each of them are game changers in their own way. And I think what we're really proud about, what we're really excited by, is that, you know, we've got all 3 of them being shown to be real and put in cars for the first time here for the Olympics.
And can I ask you what the plans are for the market introduction of these fuels?
Sure. So these are all very new technologies. Getting them into cars here is a big milestone on the way to getting them into general use. But I still think it'll be a little time before they're commonly available. I expect that we should be ready to start commercializing cellulosic biofuels and to start commercializing biobutanol in about 2014, 2015. I think that the sugar to diesel process is going to take longer if we're to get it to a point where it can properly compete on cost with existing fossil fuels.
And are these products, are they solely blending products, or can they be used on their own as well, maybe in some years to come?
Well, of course, in Brazil today, ethanol is used on its own in cars there. So with the right vehicle, you can use them by themselves. I think because of the cold weather that we have in Europe and most of North America, typically you would always want a little bit of gasoline in there to help with combustion properties. But we have tested, for example, butanol up to 60% plus without any problems with even with an unmodified vehicle. And with sugar to diesel, if we hydrogenate the fuel, then it's a drop-in fuel that we think is analogous with fossil diesel. So, yeah, absolutely, I think you could use 100% without a problem.
And these new kind of fuels, do they require any special equipment for supplying or for the dispensing of the products?
Okay. So the short answer is no. One of the big benefits of butanol is that it is completely compatible with all of the existing infrastructure. Because it doesn't attract water, unlike ethanol, it means that we can move it through pipelines, we can store it in tanks without any of the water uptake problems that have sometimes happened when ethanol has been improperly stored. It doesn't have the same impact on soft components that ethanol at high concentrations can have. So it's really good from that point of view. With sugar to diesel, if we hydrogenate the diesel, again, it is absolutely compatible with ordinary diesel.
It's my sort of final question. Imagine a scenario in about 20 years' time. What is your personal opinion? What kind of fuel are we going to use?
So first of all, I think that in 20 years' time, the great majority of people in the world will still be driving cars with internal combustion engines. A lot more people in the world will be driving them. So demand for liquid fuels is going to rise. So I think we'll still be using a lot of fossil fuels. But there will be much more biofuels in the mix. Estimates vary. At the moment, I think we would say probably about 7% of the global total were likely to be biofuels. And I think that I think we'll see more cellulosic feedstocks, more of these low-cost sustainable sugars being used. And so I think the end state that we're looking at is cellulosic butanol, cellulosic diesels, where we're combining really low-cost, sustainable biomass sources with really user-friendly, infrastructure-compatible, good quality end molecules. I think that's the combination that will be a winning combination and that will be competing with fossil fuels, and will be making motoring and mobility enduringly sustainable.
Thank you very much, Phil, for this interesting insight.
Pleasure.